back to CCTV News. Falling commodity prices are starting to impact Australia's economy. Its mining industry has been booming thanks mostly to China's demand for resources. But now some of its biggest mining companies are warning of potential layoffs. Our correspondent Hannah Belcher reports from Sydney.
Australia has been on a digging frenzy for the past decade. The lucky country's vast underground treasure chest of iron ore, coal and copper has been crucial for the construction of China's megacities and massive infrastructure projects.
Metallurgical coal that we ship across the world helps make high-speed railway lines that bring millions of people and families together.
As this BHP Billiton promotional video points out, Australia's miners have been profiting from China's breakneck growth. But as China's growth slows to just over 7% and commodity prices fall, Australian miners and the government warn the economy's strongest sector is losing steam.
We certainly believe that the Australian mineral boom has ended. If you have a look at the markets and the reactions of markets over the last 4 to 5 months, there is every indication that there has been a softening in the commodities requirements globally. And I guess really the key to that has been China.
misled consumers by calling it a 4G tablet. The ACCC says that suggests it can connect to a 4G mobile data network in Australia with a SIM card when it actually can't. Val Quinn from the Gadget Group has more on the allegations. Val, morning.
Good morning.
What do you think? Has Apple misled consumers?
It's a tough question. I mean, I don't think Apple intentionally misled consumers, but I think the advertising is misleading. And it sounds very, very confusing, but the fact is the new iPad is a 4G device. So if you take it to America or Canada, it'll work on their 4G networks. Now, those are the same 4G networks, the same technology that we have over here, except for one thing, which is that the 4G network here works on a different channel, I suppose, that the iPad can't tune into. So there's where the confusion is. You know, there's 4G networks here, there's a 4G network over in the US. It just can't tune into the one here.
So, what do you think is likely to happen?
Well, I mean, there's I guess a court action happening this morning. I mean, it's likely that Apple will probably need to change the way the product is marketed here. They may not be able to say it's a 4G device here. They may be fined. They probably need to honor people who have bought the iPad and want to return it because it can't connect to the Australian 4G network. So those are the kinds of things that could happen depending on how the court case goes.
Okay, so there's a chance that if someone's bought one and they're not happy, they will be able to return it.
Yeah, that's right. And also what's happening right now too is retailers are indicating with stickers on the boxes saying this device can't connect to 4G networks here. So they're trying to inform consumers that you can't get the ultimate top-end connection speeds that 4G networks provide. It's still faster than what the old one was, but that's
Do you think the next one will be compatible then?
Well, I would hope so. I would hope it could sort of change channels and work over here, but you know, with Apple, you never know.
Can you switch a dial to change? Tweak it over. Tweak it over.
It sounds so easy, doesn't it? But no, it's designed just for certain frequencies, and unfortunately, it doesn't work here yet. Anyway.
Okay, Val. Well, we'll see what happens.
Okay, thanks, guys.
In court. Thank you for your time.
The controversial carbon tax began at midnight, and so did renewed campaigns by the government and opposition. The campaigns featured TV ads, giant billboards, and a treasurer waving a lamb roast. The economic, political and the government hopes environmental consequences are profound. Tonight we'll examine the impact on households and hear from the opposition leader. But first, Chief Political Correspondent Mark Simkin reports on an historic day.
This is C-Day, the start of the biggest and most divisive economic change in more than a decade. Julia Gillard fronted a friendlier crowd.
The most important person in Australia. Yeah, and one of the bravest. Pleased to meet you, Julia.
Thank you very much.
In miserable Melbourne, the sky did seem a little lower, but it was definitely still up there.
Australians can look round and see the sky hasn't fallen in.
Around 300 companies will pay $23 for every tonne of carbon they produce. The tax will flow right through the economy.
You know, everything on this table is going to be more expensive after the carbon tax. I mean,
there will be compensation, but Tony Abbott insists he'll repeal that and the tax itself.
Great to be here in Melbourne today to officially launch my campaign to rid Australia of this carbon tax.
He won't take carbon pricing away. He'll engage in a little fiddle, a little fudge to kind of pretend, but carbon pricing will still be here.
The government isn't ruling out changes of its own.
Well, if some tweaking is justified, of course we'll consider it.
It'll be months and perhaps years before the full impact of the tax is known, although the electricity shock will start immediately. The ABC's obtained the government's state-by-state breakdown. It shows power prices are going up by as much as 18% in some states. The weekly hip pocket hit ranges from $3.35 in Victoria to $6.40 in New South Wales. Only part of that is the carbon tax, though. Labor estimates its contribution as more than $4 a week in the ACT, but only $1.34 in South Australia.
Australia, this campaign is now on. It's now on.
The campaign comes complete with mobile billboards and television ads.
There will be no carbon tax under the government I lead.
Labor lied, and now we're all being hit with a carbon tax.
The government's also hitting the hustings, dispatching the Treasurer to a supermarket.
It's the same price today as it was last Friday here at the supermarket, $20.
And 2 ministers to Ayala, the steel town the coalition warned could be wiped from the map.
3, 2, 1.
Kevin Rudd's support collapsed when he didn't put a price on carbon. Julia Gillard's collapsed when she said she would. Labor's desperately hoping the next few weeks are game changers, but it's telling some ministers spend a lot more time criticising Tony Abbott's criticisms than they did spruiking their own policy. Mark Simpkin, ABC News, Canberra.
Of grounding its entire fleet indefinitely, effective immediately. The airline's chief today said the company had no choice in the face of impossible demands by unions. Alan Joyce accused them of trashing the Qantas brand and deliberately destabilising the company. The federal government's responded, saying it's made an urgent appeal to Fair Work Australia to halt all industrial action at the airline. For now, though, all Qantas passengers have been told to stay at home. Here's ABC reporter Ben Worsley.
The head of Qantas called a late afternoon press conference with little notice. What he announced was extraordinary and, in industrial terms, explosive.
I announced that under the provisions of the Fair Work Act, Qantas will lock out all those employees who are covered by the agreements currently operating and being negotiated with the ALAEA, the TWU and the AIPA.
The lockout starts on Monday night, but the airline's CEO has grounded all aeroplanes immediately.
This is a very tense environment. Individual reactions to the lockout decision may be unpredictable, and for this reason, as a precautionary measure, we have decided to ground the Qantas international and domestic fleets immediately. I repeat, we are grounding the Qantas fleet now.
Alan Joyce says the rolling industrial action of the unions is costing Qantas $15 million a week, and that is simply unsustainable.
If the action continues as the unions have promised, we will have no choice but to close down Qantas part by part.
The unions are outraged, accusing Qantas of deception and planning this action for days.
I think Alan Joyce is intent on destroying Qantas and holding the nation to ransom.
Finally, the federal government is stepping in. It's intervening and taking the dispute to Fair Work Australia.
Solutions can be found that are in the interests of Qantas's long-term future and of its workforce.
Jetstar, QantasLink and Qantas Freight services will continue. The airline will help passengers stranded mid-journey with accommodation and alternative travel, and Qantas will refund cancelled tickets.
I want to say how sorry I am that this course of action has become necessary.
With thousands of Qantas passengers now stranded, he's not alone. Ben Worsley, ABC News.
for celebration among the masses, but the milk price war has led to ferocious recriminations and a Senate inquiry. While consumers are happily lapping up cheap milk and Coles is purring at all the attention, everyone else in the supply chain has their backs up. Neil Woolrich reports.
A couple of years ago we had our milk price slashed mid-season, which hadn't happened for 30 or 40 years, and that was pretty hard to take.
Mick Hughes comes from a dairy farming family. He says times have been tough enough with a decade of drought followed by recent flooding rains. Now the industry faces another challenge as the major supermarkets slash prices on their plain label milk by up to a third.
I can't see that the industry can force the supermarkets to pay more. We just get told what we're paid, and that's what happens for the year. Like, we get told a flat rate and that's it.
Mick Hughes's milk is mostly destined for the export market, so he's largely unaffected by domestic pricing. Still, he's keenly watching the Federal Parliament's milk pricing inquiry, which opened this week.
I would hope there'd be something come out, but a little sceptical that there'll be anything come out of it.
We've endeavoured to be as fair and reasonable in the contract positioning that we put in place as we could to protect the industry, both the processors and indeed the dairy farmers. But what we do firmly believe is that ultimately the consumer shouldn't have to pay for the processors' profit margins.
Coles supermarkets fired the first shots in the milk wars on Australia Day when it started selling plain label milk for $1 a litre.
What we're trying to do is lower prices overall. I think what needs to be remembered here is that it was only 2.5 years ago that there was a Competition Commission inquiry into why grocery prices were too high.
We've got consumers benefiting from this. We will have more milk sales because of this, and we will have farmers producing more milk, which means higher prices for farmers.
While Coles says it wants a sustainable dairy industry, others are not convinced. At this week's first sittings of the Federal Parliamentary Inquiry into milk pricing, a host of critics lined up to slam the retail giant.
I have to admit, it does get up my nose that every day I figure out I'm actually subsidising Fonterra to sell house brand milk to Coles.
A value chain of $1 per litre would not appear sufficient to deliver an adequate return to all stakeholders involved in the production and distribution of a litre of milk.
And we're prepared to put on record that National Foods anticipated that it would deliver a profit margin of less than 2% this year, and this is before the recent spate of discounting.
Indeed, firms like National Foods are likely to be the biggest losers from price discounting as consumers switch away from food processors' profitable branded milk.
We're going to see more rationalisation in the processor industry going forward. We're going to see their margins cut. We're probably going to see them being forced to make significant investments in cost-saving technology. We're going to have a leaner processor sector.
When we look at the key processors and you look at their EBIT margins, they're 5%, 6% and 7% respectively. You know, Coles is making 4 cents in the dollar. Actually, our margins are lower than theirs are. So I think there are opportunities for us to still provide a great price for the consumer and for the processors to participate in that as well.
Coles has maintained its discounting won't affect farmgate prices, although it doesn't contract directly with farmers. But the Senate committee heard this week that some producers are already receiving less because consumers are buying more plain label milk. However, former ACCC Commissioner Stephen King says dairy farmers will eventually have to be paid more as milk consumption rises.
Dairy farmers will find that they're being enticed to produce more milk. How do you entice somebody to produce more? You've got to be paying them more.
If the milk price war does drag on, farmers here in Victoria at least have a plan B. They can export their produce and be assured of being paid the international milk price. But elsewhere in Australia, others don't have the same option. And it's those dairy farmers most at risk of being squeezed out of the industry.
So in states like Queensland, where 95% of our milk goes into the domestic market and we don't have other alternatives in terms of markets, we're really left in a really difficult situation. But it's tantamount to...
Adrian Peake says $400 million has been stripped out of milk sales over the past decade because of the switch by consumers towards more plain label milk. And he expects that trend will only gather momentum if the plain label discounting continues.
Those producers at that level in the value chain need longer-term security in terms of their price formats.
What you have to remember here is that actually the price has come down by about 4.5 cents a litre. You know, that's not going to destroy the dairy industry.
There's farmers that from drought be still carrying debt, and from lower milk prices possibly will be still carrying a huge amount of debt, and some that'll be affected with flood as well, and they'd have costs incurred in that, so they'll need a higher price to get through.
While Coles can't say how long the discounting will go on, it seems the dairy industry is about to undergo another shift, perhaps as significant in its impact as the deregulation reforms that happened a decade ago.
Today at Facebook headquarters, founder Mark Zuckerberg launched a new era for the social networking site.
One of the older traditions that we have at Facebook.
By holding up a gong. This little ritual happens only at big product launches at Facebook, marking the moment the new product goes online. Facebook's tantalizingly vague announcement, just come and see what we're building.
People have guessed search engine. They've guessed some update to Facebook gifts. They've guessed a Facebook phone.
Led to a frenzy of speculation about what it might be.
Maybe a standalone iPad app.
Not quite. Facebook gave Nightline exclusive access to what they've really been building, a rare behind-the-scenes look at a product that could change people's daily habits online. Graph Search, a powerful tool with an uninspiring name, a search engine like no other.
So this is just some really neat stuff. This is one of the coolest things that I think that we've done in a while.
Until now, Facebook has been sort of a high-tech scrapbook people constantly update and share with their friends. But it's really a giant database. 1 billion people voluntarily sharing their likes and dislikes, voluntarily sharing 240 billion photos, voluntarily forging 1 trillion connections between all those items. Until now, you could browse only one page at a time. Now the whole database is searchable, along with all those connections. Is this Facebook trying to get into the Google business?
A little bit.
If you think of Google as the Yellow Pages, the Encyclopedia, and the Almanac all rolled into one, basic answers to basic questions, Facebook's new search tool is something far more personal. Here you get biased results.
People are used to doing searches on the web, say, for a plumber, right? But you're not used to the idea that you could go through and say, show me all the plumbers that my friends like. That's almost like a holy grail in some cases for anybody who's ever tried to find somebody that they trust and they really want recommendations from other people that they know, because oftentimes you can't really tap into all your friends in that way.
Right. Depending on your friends and interests, some of your search results will be different from mine. What makes this different from a traditional web search is that the results are personalized to you based on you and your friends. So if I type TV shows my friends like, the results that come up for me are World News, Nightline, Good Morning America. Go figure. Thankfully, the new tool isn't limited just to your friends. You can actually search all of the data publicly shared on Facebook.
Let's say I want to check out if there are any Italian restaurants in Los Angeles.
Product manager Kate O'Neill showed us how you can filter the search further by cuisine, by location, even by your friends' recommendations.
That Los Angeles restaurant residents have visited, that my friends have visited, and here we have one restaurant that I may want to check out.
I can say firsthand, it's a good spot.
That's great to hear.
The possibilities are endless and sometimes amusing. While they were dog-fooding the search tool, that's using it only amongst Facebook employees, someone thought to plug in music liked by people who like Mitt Romney. Top result, Johnny Cash.
If I can change Mitt Romney to Barack Obama.
Top results there, Michael Jackson. Are you hoping that someday this will replace Google or not?
That's not the way, I don't think that's the way we think about it. I mean, the way we've thought about this product is there's all this stuff that you've shared about yourself, that you've shared about your friends, that you've shared about the world around you, and we're trying to unlock the value of that and to make it all searchable.
Now you can collect together all your favorite photos of friends and family, or ask it to show you all the photos of those people from long ago. Content personalized just to you. For now, the tool is limited just to 4 basic categories: people, photos, places, and interests.
You can't search for things, for example, like posts, events. Those things are not currently included in this early version of Graph Search.
Will they be someday?
Yes, they will be someday. If I, for example, met someone at a party, didn't catch their last name, but we talked for a long time and I got a bunch of information just in the course of the conversation, I could actually do a search like this. So people named Russ who live in San Francisco and are friends with Tom. And here I'm getting back this person that I talked to, Russ. He's a designer. We met at a party.
Did you really?
Great guy. Yeah. And
Sparks flew?
No, not like that. But Russ is actually married.
Okay. Well, you get the idea.
What Facebook has done is kind of digitized people and digitized all of our connections, not just with each other, but also with people, places, and things. And now this is a glimmer into what you can do with that.
New ways to waste time at home and at the office.
You could say that, although interestingly, you could also say that people have been wasting time on Facebook before, and this actually might make them more productive in some ways.
It'll be quicker to find out.
Yeah, exactly.
Facebook has been careful to reassure people the new search tool respects all the privacy restrictions people put on their data. The engineers say that's one thing that made this project such a challenge. Most of them, about 50 in all, have been locked in this room for a month. How many of you have slept here at least one night while this thing has been in progress?
Yeah.
Bunch of hands? And how many of you have partners at home that are ready to kill you right now?
1, 2.
Today, the lockdown officially ended. The celebrations began. By the time they all get home, their friends and family, among the first to get this new toy, may be spending even more time on Facebook. I'm David Wright for Nightline in Menlo Park.
Party till the daylight, party till the daylight, party till the daylight, light, 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 light. Party till the daylight, 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 light, 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 light. We're gonna dance till the sunrise come. We're going to mash things up and stay forever young. Yes, we'll party till the daylight come. Just hold on until we see the sunrise again. We're gonna dance till the sunrise come. We're going to mash things up and stay forever young. Yes, we'll party till the daylight come. Just hold on until we see the sunrise again. Party till the daylight. Party till the daylight. Yeah, 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 yeah. We're gonna dance till the sunrise come. We're going to mash things up and stay forever young. Yes, we'll party till the daylight come. Just hold on until we see the sunrise again. We're gonna dance till the sunrise come. We're Yeah.